Coming up on this episode of MSEB News, we spotlight the guys in the Mesquite ISD Electronic Media Services Department behind all professional videos, animations, photos, and graphics that you see promoting the school district.
We also take a look at student views on the 2020 election.
We hear from a local business owner about how business is different with the pandemic.
And then we see how COVID-19 has affected orchestra programs in Mesquite ISD.
All this and more coming up on MSEB News.
Welcome to MSEB, live from the TEC studios.
Good afternoon, Mesquite ISD. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Christian Soriano.
And I'm Tiger McAdams, and you're watching MSEB Live, a show produced by MISD students brought to you live from the TEC studios.
We'll bring you the top stories from throughout the district and take an inside look on what's happening in MISD. Let's get to our first story. Due to COVID-19, the routines and functions of the student orchestras have changed dramatically. In our first story, we see how the Poteet High School Orchestra is adapting to the pandemic.
COVID-19 has begun to create many new changes in the world around us. Our home, work, and school lives are constantly changing due to the pandemic, and that also includes the way that the conventional orchestra functions. We here at MSEB interviewed Poteet High School Orchestra Director Christopher Frank to get a first-hand insight on the new routines and classroom procedures of orchestra.
How has COVID-19 made it harder to make music? Well, the first thing is that we all have to socially distance. So making music together as an orchestra is difficult because we have to get together as a group to perform music together. So we've had to adapt several different ways by spacing out the orchestra room. As you see here, we have to sit as close to 6 feet apart as we can, which makes some difficulties with recording music and playing live. We obviously can't have concerts where we have a live audience sitting in the audience because we can't get together. So we've had to adapt and do lots of different things relying on technology to allow us to get our music out there as a concert. Sitting so far apart makes some big challenges for musicians because we communicate together. I forget the exact measurement, but it's something like a 50th of a second. And sitting far apart, we have a delay with how fast sound travels. So we've had to work really hard on getting the people sitting all the way at the back to match time with the people sitting in the front. We've had to do some fun games with metronomes and different things and practicing to really, really get our timing together so that when we play together, it all lines up rather than being just a big garbled mess. So some of the challenges teaching students in and outside of class is just making sure that things line up on a day-to-day basis. I mean, we have some students that are rehearsing in real time here with us, and then other students that are rehearsing online, which has a lag. They're technically real time, but there's always a latency issue with internet. That's why you don't see musicians collaborating together over the internet, because there's no way for us to get that timing shortened. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to say something together over the internet. Maybe it's the Pledge of Allegiance, or maybe it's, some sort of group, mantra that you say together, but it just doesn't work out because of the latency of the internet and travel issues. How is having a performance without an audience? So, it's very much like a recording session where you have the musicians get together and you lay down a track and that's it. And you don't see the experience of, the live audience. It's very different. It's not the same, but it's, what we have to do during this time to get as close as we can to a live concert. So I think the students have a unique experience to, feel what it's like to be a recording musician. And then, to see the audience comments and reactions on Facebook, on Instagram, the social media concerts that we put up is kind of the reward that they see. But it's not the same. They don't get that live experience of having an audience clap after they're there, or having, sitting on stage and seeing your parents or your, teachers or your community members watching you as you perform. I think we're relying a lot more on technology right now We have to post things later after the fact and allow students, teachers, community to see our performances online. And there are some challenges with that, with copyright issues and with following regulations and things, so we have to be careful. We're having to really read up on, how to be audiovisual technicians as well as performers. I think that we have a huge opportunity to have an impact on our community and our students. One of the things we did last spring was a tribute to the graduating seniors. We usually do the piece Somewhere Over the Rainbow on our final concert to the graduating seniors. We had the ability and the time to make a digital recording of that and send it out on Facebook and YouTube. And I think that had a huge impact on not only our students in orchestra, but also the students in Poteet. And we were, lucky enough that Dr. Broomland, our superintendent, saw it and made it, a district-wide tribute to the graduating seniors. I think that things like that are ways that we can reach out to our community. I do think that music has a huge impact on our society. I think it has a huge impact on our community. And I think it's important that we support that and we use our music to support our community. But I think that we'll have to be creative and be innovative in how we do that moving into the future.
It looks like Poteet Orchestra has it figured out on how to make music together while social distancing. In addition to changes in how fine arts and schools are functioning during the pandemic, many businesses are having to adapt as well. In our next story, we talk about a local business owner and how his business is adapting under the pandemic. Richard Williams is the owner of one of many companies that were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Williams Construction Company has stayed in business for 41 years and is still going strong.
My name is Richard Williams. I own a construction company in Dallas. We do a lot of restoration for insurance companies, water damage and fire damage. I also do kitchen and bath remodels and whole house remodeling. I succeeded my father in I think it was 92, 93, but I've grown the business over 10 times the size it was before. Started doing this, my goal was to do $20,000 a week in business, and I do $200,000 a week now. Mostly via text, email. A lot of people got scared when it first started, and it's shut down for about 3 or 4 weeks. Then after that, people got more comfortable. I did a lot more exterior work than I normally do. It's different now that there's a lot of people that still don't want you in their house. So I do a lot more exterior remodeling than I did before. That's starting to change a little bit, but now that it's spiking again, people are getting more apprehensive and it's slowing back down again. So I don't have as many small jobs as far as interior work as I did. The big stuff is still pretty steady, but the small day-to-day stuff is not quite as big as it used to be. Well, the first stress was when they came out on the news and shut Dallas down. And then I realized that I was named as essential so I could keep my business going. That was my first stress level. The second was how much my business would slow down. That's been the biggest concern, and still is a concern as the pandemic is ongoing. You never know how things are going to react and how much longer people are going to let you in their house. So that's been my biggest stress level. It's harder to, special order items take 4 to 6 weeks where I used to get them in a week or 2. And the price of materials doubled in some cases. So that's been a big problem as well.
One thing we do is we bought the temporal thermometers for our guys to check their temperature every day. We ask them to sanitize their hands before they go in and when they come back out, and of course always wear a mask and social distance as much as they can, basically.
Mr. Williams' construction company is fortunate to be one of the few companies who were least impacted by the pandemic. To this day, this company still stands and operates under COVID-19 circumstances, even though things might not be normal for a while. The work will still be there. From MSEB News, this is Tiger McAdams.
Many businesses are making many changes, and it looks like Richard Williams and Associates will continue to adapt and continue business beyond the pandemic. The 2020 presidential election has been much like the year 2020. With its ups and downs, many students have been sharing their views about the election. Let's hear what they have to say.
2020 elections, such polarizing times. But how polarizing is it to the youth? What do young people think of the election?
I mean, it's kind of self-evident, honestly. It's a joke. Like both people are clearly like inefficient to handle a debate against each other. Biden is obviously just a weak person when it comes to speaking, and Trump is just the type of person who would just walk all over you without any regards for rules or any respect.
I thought that the 2020 presidential debates were absolutely horrific, and it was a dumpster fire because of the moderator not being able to moderate.
Honestly, didn't look at it, but how I feel about it is more like it's two of the same people fighting.
Young people have already cast nearly 2/3 as many early votes as they did in all of 2016. But do young people really know anything about politics, more specifically the 2020 elections and candidates?
Not a big fan of him, but not a big fan of Biden either.
Biden seems like a nice man. He just seems like he's kind of old, and he does stutter a lot, and he messes up sometimes, and it makes him seem, you can tell his age by the way he talks.
These debates have really been his one and only shot at practically getting a leg up his opponent, Joe Biden. And as we've seen in the presidential debate and the town hall meeting, he basically doused himself in gasoline and lit himself on fire.
What do young people think of the vice presidents?
She's terrible. She put so many young people in jail just for minor offenses, drug offenses, like marijuana, and has used them as a source of cheap labor when they're in prison. So she's obviously just a terrible tyrant.
I don't even really care about her, I'm not gonna lie.
But no matter who you support or what do you believe, we are all human beings. Michael Garcia from MSEB News.
Wow, students have a lot to say about our presidential candidates. 2020 is definitely a year for the history books. In our final story, we spotlight the guys behind all the professional videos, animations, photos, and graphics that you see promoting Mesquite ISD. Often behind the scenes, these guys are the Electronic Media Services Department, are a hidden gem in Mesquite ISD.
Mesquite ISD has a lot of hidden treasures, but one that does not see a lot of spotlight would be the district's video production and media team in the Electronic Media Services Department. Ted Madden, Wei Tung Chow, and Wade Odom's work is everywhere you look, whether it is on the district's social media page or promotional media. Their hands are on it from behind the scenes.
I've always been in video production, but for most of the years it was as a sports reporter. My first job was in Kalispell, Montana. I worked in Shreveport, Louisiana for about 5 years, and then I came to Dallas. And so the entirety of my career was as a sports reporter, but I was also a shooter, so I shot my own stuff, edited, and was on camera sometimes too. And for the last 4 years, I've been here with Mesquite ISD doing a variety of videos for the school district. The Hall of Honor project is probably my least favorite and my favorite. It's a monster project. We get the names of the 11 inductees in the spring, and I spend the next several months contacting them, setting up interviews, shooting interviews, editing 11 different videos. Each video has about 7 or 8 unique interviews in that video. So they're all very detailed, very good in-depth stories. And I've never done work in this business that I'm more proud of than the 2 years, and now this is the 3rd year of it that we've done on these videos. There have been a bunch since I got here. There's the Marcom Awards every year. I've submitted several videos and won either a gold, a silver, or platinum. TSPRA, I'm gonna get this wrong. The Texas Schools PR Association, Public Relations Association. Anyway, I got a bunch of stuff from TSPRA as well. With my experience as a professional level video producer, editing and shooting and creating all these sports videos over the years, I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage when I submit awards in this industry, because I don't know that a lot of people have the kind of experience I do, but I'm proud of the work I've done.
All right, I'm gonna give you a little bit of my a little bit information about myself. I wasn't born here. I was born in Taiwan, and I came from a journalism college, and I do have a motion picture production degree back then. And then I came here to study, and I have a bachelor and master degree of radio, TV and film from University of North Texas. What led me to the media industry is I always like the media production. I really like watching films, watching TVs, and I thought it was a lot of fun. That take you to a world of creativity, a lot of imagination, storytelling, and you learn a lot from watching it. Learn from the people, learn about different type of the world, different kind of cultures, that kind of thing. So that's kind of get me in here. So when I have a chance to choose what I need to study, that's my top choice. Getting into the media, study about it, and trying to find a job, become my career. We have 3 producers in EMS, and I'm gonna say we are not very different from each other. You know, each one of us has our area that we produce. Like Ted, he does more on the sports side, but doesn't mean I didn't do sports. I shoot sports highlights every Friday night. So we all do a lot. All depending on who came to us, who has time to take care of that project. The biggest difference I'm gonna say, if you ask me, I'm gonna say I handle live to record production. That's one of the areas that I don't think the other two has been given a chance to handle it. It's a one-man operation. I have robotic cameras, so I have 5 cameras control on my fingertip. I'm the cameraman, I'm the director, I call the shot, I switch myself, and I'm the TD, I'm the tape man, I record, I operate audio, I do the graphics. It's all together, all by myself. The best part of working for Mesquite ISD is actually an educational setting. I got the chance to work with the teachers, work with the kids. All my production has some kind of meaning behind it somewhere. I know my production is going to be shown to the parents, the kids, to the teachers. That's going to affect them somehow. So I'm going to say that's my favorite part.
So I was one of those kids that when I graduated high school, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. I knew that I liked art, and I knew that I enjoyed history. And so I went off to college and spent a few years trying to figure that out. I eventually got into graphic design, and that's what my degree is in. And through that, I got to learn things like web design and got to study photography and video. And after I'd graduated, I had all of these skills that I liked using, but I didn't know which one I really wanted to focus on. And it wasn't until maybe a year or two after that that I decided that video was really where my heart was, and because I've always enjoyed telling stories. And so that was just, I felt like the best way for me to do it. And really it was the most fun too. I really enjoyed it even more than the other sort of aspects of it, of my degree. And so once I got into video and made that decision that that's what I wanted to focus on, it really kind of went from there. And those are the kind of jobs that I looked for and to kind of shape my career. So the thing that I specialize in, I would say, is probably more of like the motion graphics and a little bit of animation. We all kind of have our strong points, I think, and so which for us works well. We work kind of complement each other. But I would definitely say it was probably the motion graphics side of it. Several different kinds of awards that, because we are work in media here in a school district, that we're eligible for. One is TSPRA, which is a conference of communications departments throughout the state of Texas, and then there's a national version of that called NSPRA, and we've won many awards in those areas. There is another one called the Marcom Awards that we've entered for several years and have done really well in those. The thing I like best about working at Mesquite ISD is really the people. I have yet to meet someone that I didn't work well with. They're just really great people that work here at all levels, whether they're teachers or administrators on campuses, or if it's upper administration. The school board is always wonderful to work with. And so I really enjoy that aspect of it. I'd say if there was a secondary one, it's that I get to work on a lot of different kinds of projects, and it gives me an outlet for my creativity.
These three guys are constantly working hard behind the scenes, but their work is spotlighted everywhere around Mesquite ISD. This is Ethan Riley reporting for MSEB News.
Wow, it is amazing how much experience and talent is in the Mesquite ISD Electronic Media Services Department. Be sure to check out their work on the district's social media and YouTube channel.
That wraps up this edition of MSEB News. For more information on today's stories, please visit the MSEB YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Tiger McAdams.
And I'm Christian Soriano. Until next time,
stay classy, Mesquite.
This has been a presentation of MSEB, Mesquite Student Entertainment and Broadcasting, in association with the Mesquite Independent School District Career and Technical Education Department.